Okay, folks, thanks for being here for another evening yet again. Um, just real quick for the material tonight, it's pretty light material, but there's your link to download it if you want. You shouldn't have any bandwidth issues. There are no videos or anything like that. Um, that's what I mean when I say light. Uh, so let's jump right into it. This might be a quick one tonight. We shall see. As you well know, the theme for this season is what?
Rising to the occasion.
There we go. All right.
Good game.
And I wanted to do, heading into this week's national games, I wanted to do a recap of some of the trends that I've noticed through the conversations uh, at the games, in the focus discussions. Yeah, some of the trends that might help you all rise to the occasion this week. Um, So we kicked off with an introduction to the concept of rise to the occasion. And one of the concepts that was in there was flow and control. What can you folks tell me about flow and control? Uh-oh.
Well, I can tell you if you want to control the match, you're going to be looking for opportunities to make a call, maybe to slow down the game, uh, not make up calls, but maybe call it more tightly in order to control it and keep it in check. If you want more flow, maybe you're going to let the players play the game a little bit. You're going to see what they accept and let it go from there, so that it's a little more flowing. So you're not breaking it up with calls. You maybe using your voice a little more to talk to the players rather than blowing your whistle. Those are two things I would say around flow and control.
And to me, it's a cost benefit analysis, right? You have to find a sweet spot.
You have to find what?
Curves on where you're going, and over control loses the game. Overflow could also lose the game. So you're trying to find that sweet spot as a referee to figure out, how do I let these kids play but keep it within the laws of the game?
Great. So how do you find that sweet spot?
You have to see what the players are accepting. You have to kind of judge the game by, hey, what are their reactions to the physicality of the game or non-physicality of the game, and kind of give them a chance to give you some information.
Yeah, you got to get your feelers out there for that information they're going to give you. If you have if you have all flow, you know, your system might be a bit broken, and controls are lying on the ground, and you don't know how to make things work again. And on the flip side, if you've got all control, um, no one's going to be having any fun. They'll be safe and it'll be fair, but you're not checking all three boxes. Uh, so this is you got to have a healthy balance. Um, and put this in the column of Lewisisms, so feel free to disprove it. But I would posit that control is a must. Flow is a benefit. So obviously, no one's going to enjoy a game where every little contact is whistled, or even every contact that could be interpreted careless, reckless, or excessive force is whistled, or everything within the laws, because some of them are not conditional. So, how do we know we've got a baseline of control? How do we make that happen?
whistle, you know that the game is safe. In
Okay.
the way that you're leaning on the side of you have fair, right? So you know you with control you have safe. Hopefully you're doing it right. You have safe. Okay. Every time. Boop, safe. Boop, safe. And then trying to make sure that it's it's fair, but you may not have fun yet. For sure.
So what can we do in a game to establish that safety, that fairness, that control? Get that foundation. What's something tangible you can do? I like tangible things.
Well,
You can be vocal early on with the players. You can let them know you're present. You can let them know you're seeing things. You may not blow your whistle right away, but hey, keep the hands down, or hey, watch that
Okay.
charge, or whatever. You can let them know you're present and watching. I mean, it can go to the whistle if you see that kind of isn't working, but you let them know you're there and you're present.
Yeah, you create a commanding presence.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have your toolbox, right?
Did
The,
you jump ahead?
the different levels that you can do. You have your whistle, you have your looks, you have your talking, you have I mean, in terms of control, you have cards. I mean, there's your toolbox gives you the control. The flow isn't really the flow is knowing how to use the toolbox, but the toolbox gives you control.
Okay. Yeah. Well done. John's using his toolbox.
You take the advanced class with Cindy, you learn your toolbox.
Yeah. So have you guys ever heard the concept of a strong first five?
Yeah.
So, Randy, I see a slow nod there. Have you tried that?
No, I can't say that I have,
Okay.
but
Okay.
I have heard of it, right? Making your presence known in those first 5 minutes, using using your whistle to call some fouls that you know are there to show that you've got command and control of the game, and
Yeah.
kind of sets the tone.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Randy. Andy, have you ever tried the concept of a strong first five?
Yes.
Okay. What did you think about it?
Well, I liked what I saw in that UCSB game 10 plus years ago. Guy came out and immediately was blowing his whistle in the first five. Turned to my wife. I said, oh, this is going to be horrible. There's going to be no flow to this game. And instead, it was the cleanest college game I ever saw. And talking to the players the next day, I found out that they loved it because they didn't have to worry about retaliating or anything else. They knew that the guy was going to
Mm,
call foul, and he backed off on the whistle. He established that he's seeing it and let
okay.
them know.
So he built trust in them. He was kind of like, look, guys, I'm not gonna make these first few minutes a lot of fun for you, but when we come out of it, we're gonna have trust in each other and lead into more fun from there.
And it wasn't like an AYSO game where people are out of control. I mean, the college players knew what they were doing. They just play really hard, and it's like a mosh pit. But he said no, and they respected him.
Hmm. He just set a consistent tone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that first five, you can even tell them, hey, look, we're not starting off like that today. And you can apply this to the second half too. And we're just not starting off like that, right? You can help them understand, I am just setting the ground rules. And then sometimes you're right, you've established that trust, you've established a good thing, and then a substitution happens. And whoa, where did that come from? Right? You get an offense that's completely out of line with what with the rapport that had been developed. And then you call that one right. You talk to the player that just substituted in. It's like, hey, that's just not what we're doing here today. Welcome to the party. Uh, here's how it's going. Because they haven't had that feel on the field. They haven't gotten your introduction yet, especially with the way we see kids sub. They're off in the background. They're not even aware a game's going on until they're called up. Hey, Johnny, where is Johnny? Get Johnny smile. Oh, he's playing in that tree over there, right? So Johnny's got no feel of what the game is until they get pulled in. So cool. I really like the touch on the toolbox too, right? Control isn't just whistle, yellow, red, right?
I,
Is there a
I,
control tool someone has used recently that they've thought, oh, that's a new one. I like that one.
well, I think something you said there. I've said that before because I've heard it said is like when you see a foul, when you see something. I mean, we might have a whistle, and then I might say, "Hey, we're not having that today. Hey, we're not doing that today." Like if you see a hard foul right up front, hey, kind of a strong presence in words. Hey, we're not doing that. Let's not right. We, that I like when you said that, and I heard I've done that before, and it seems to work.
Yeah,
Uh,
so the public word.
yes,
And it doesn't always have to be demeaning. It's just saying, hey, that's not what we're having today.
yeah. Let's play soccer, right? Let's play the game.
Great, great. All right, I like it. We're going to jump on to the next session we had, which was Linda's talk on referee abuse prevention. Um, and guess what she showed? She also showed the steps of control, right? Very, very similar thing. It's almost like we're following the same curriculum. Um, uh, and why is it important? So in referee abuse prevention, right? There's a lot of talk about dissent. Why is it important to address dissent?
It leads to action, and
Leads to
it's
action from whom?
the players,
The players.
and it's contagious.
It's contagious. It also, if not addressed, it kind of shows a lack of control of the game by the referee, a
Hmm.
lack of control, a lack of attention. It can also inflame the touchline.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it carries on to the next match.
Does it help to have thick skin?
I thought so. That's
Yeah,
What
I think
but
so. I think it still helps to have. Yeah, yes.
I think it helps to. I mean, there's a difference, right? It helps to have thick skin so you don't take things personally, but it doesn't help to have thick skin if you're not noticing the game temperature. I
Hmm.
mean, you need to be sensitive to what's happening in the game and not get personally involved in what's happening. Hey, listen, I'm here to manage this game. I'm seeing things that are being disruptive. I'm going to address those, but that's not a personal affront to me as a referee, is how I would put it. If there's a personal affront to you as a referee, well, we know what that is, right? If it's personal and abusive, well, we know how to deal with that. But I think I used to get, I think, personally affronted sometimes when I was a younger referee. Like, God, I can't believe they're doing this stuff. And I think you need to take that out of the equation.
Do they know who I am?
Right? Don't
How
they
could they do
know?
this to me? Yeah.
Paid for this? Like, I mean, that's the other thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Go ahead, Andy.
I was when I addressed it, I was talking more, in other words, it's not as much as from the players as from the touch line. And I used to just, okay, I don't care what they say. But there was a couple times where what they were saying then affected the players and changed the temperature of the game because I allowed the parents to just do what they please.
Yeah. Yeah. So having a thick skin is is a good asset. You don't let them get to you. Now, just make sure you have sensitive ears, right? Because you seem all attuned to the fact that if you permit a behavior, it's either going to grow in that game, it's going to carry over to the next game, right? Something some referees got to deal with. You're just passing it down the road, and what if that's your kid refereeing the next game, right? Do you want them to have to put up with that? Um, does anyone here have, other than Cindy, have their kids still refereeing or refereeing yet?
Trying to push to have my kids referee. Like,
Oh, you muted yourself, John. Mid sentence, you muted yourself.
I think he gave us the inspiration he's trying to give them to referee.
oh, sorry. Isabel did it a couple of years ago. My son, I'm hoping to do it this season with him. So I'm hoping to have a couple referees, like my son, a little bit more than my daughter, but it's been cool to do it. But yeah, I know what you mean. And as an RRA, we've had to protect youth referees where we've had to push a U10 sideline 20 yards off the field because of previous behavior.
Oh, yeah. What's it like to watch your kid get the referee abuse on the field?
I've been lucky. Like, I mean, my daughter has only been on the AR side, so I don't think that I mean, she understands what could happen, but she hasn't been in an ugly situation. I have seen other people's children as the referee and as actually as an AR in uglier situations than my daughter has been. So it's been lucky.
Okay. How about you, Cindy? I'm not the only of her offspring that has refereed.
I gotta say, my worst experience is when my daughter was an assistant referee for me, and a coach who charged down the touch line at her after she had called an offside offense when the ball had gone into the goal. And, I intercepted him. He wasn't going to get to her.
Yeah, that's that's tough. So, have have the internal toughness, but don't be deaf to what's going on, right? If you can be unaffected by it, but also be aware of it, that's great because then you can handle it in a calm and effective way. And when's the best time to handle it?
First 5 minutes.
First 5 minutes. There we go. Andy's remembering from the last one. I like it. So if you've got a fire, right? You got a little match. How easy? What does it take to put that out?
Sit on it.
Okay, Andy would spit on it. Some of us might need a glass of water. All right, so that's where you catch something small, and with this slide, Linda was pointing out, hey, yeah, for the small things, you keep it small with just a look, with a talk, with a warning. All right, but it escalated a bit. We're going to use different tools now, whistles and cautions, and you've got something the size of a campfire. What's it take to put that out?
Takes a bucket.
Takes a bucket. There we go. Yeah. Are you a camper? Or do you remember Linda's session?
I did not remember that at all. I was a lucky
Oh, okay,
guess.
there you go. You're on top of it. Uh, all right, and then the fire grows, right? So now we're dealing with a send off, with suspending the match, with terminating the match. Okay, so we got this big forest fire. What's it take to put that out?
Airdrop.
Thousands of people and a tanker plane. Oh,
There we go. Right? Huge budget. And we can't always call that in, right? It takes quite a resourced referee, experienced referee to be able to have the skills to call in the tanker. That's not an easy task. So if we can handle it on just a little match, that's going to help you a lot. All right. So the next session we had was Rocky Kofar. And he talked about dealing with anger and resistance. All right. So this is kind of all right. We've already got at least a campfire size thing going on here. You look at these photos, and you might have a little more than a campfire going on. And Rocky really talked about the moment of truth. When does a moment of truth come up for us? Let's define it first. Let's define it first. So in most games, there's a particular incident that, if handled correctly, allows the game to progress without much dispute or acrimony. Conversely, failure to recognize or properly handle this moment of truth leads to rapid deterioration. Keith, there's a lot of background noise coming from you. You think you can
gotcha.
stay muted? Thanks. Um, so when do moments of truth happen for us?
Hopefully never.
Hopefully
Happen.
one never passes us.
Yeah. Yeah. I think moments of truth happen during a game, and like the theme, you either rise to the moment or you let it wash over you. So, um, but yeah, they happen during almost every game.
Yeah. They they often follow a perceived or an actual injustice. Um, maybe the referee's got a lack of awareness about something that the players are reacting to, or there's just a simple error the referee made. How do you know when you've missed a moment of truth?
Everyone lets you know.
Yeah.
Players let you know, touchline let you know, but you have to make sure you separate the wheat from the chaff. But
This
yes,
is true. This is true.
you probably know.
Yeah, they'll let you know the game's going to get harder to manage all of a sudden, right? Like, goodness, I'm working really hard all of a sudden.
Yeah, you know, and then when they call you, you're like, yeah, now I'm sure.
Yeah, and again, Rocky brings in, you've got some tools. You got some tools here. You could just look at the whole range of expressions on all these referees, right? We got a couple, maybe up close and personal friendly. We've got some neutral, uh, some calms, and then some very strict but calm, but then also authoritative on here, right? And our tools include all the same things: body language, eye contact, head nod, hand gestures, personal space. Um, if you've read that yet. Uh, okay. So Rocky also touched on the fact that you got a number of tools. It doesn't always have to be a whistle. In fact, the whistle, sometimes you got to wait to use a whistle. Like, that one's not worth a whistle. But if you're using your other tools, you can keep the fire small. You can start firefighting, fire prevention. There we go. You can keep things small. Okay. And then the most recent session we had Cindy hosted last week, Tricky Business, also known as gamesmanship. So what did we title gamesmanship? How do we define gamesmanship? Sorry. What's that, Keith?
Behavior or actions to uh, try to influence decisions that are kind of outside the character of the game. Some of it's inside the game, right? Some of it's obviously within the game, but
Exactly. Yeah. Some of it's fair, some of it's attempts at cheating. And it's going to be the referee's job to determine if the gamesmanship is within the spirit of the game and the boundaries of acceptable behavior. And so in that, Cindy showed great video selection of a number of examples um, of maybe one kid that constantly off the ball is just picking at someone, picking. Or you got a whole team that's doing it right. Like you've heard of like team fouling or rotary fouling, where they're all taking turns fouling one person trying to avoid persistent offenses. But also they could just be annoying this person, just nagging. Um, so it's good to stay aware of those challenges. Did that session last week awaken any memories of anyone of situations where, oh, I caught that gamesmanship? I missed that. I'll have to catch it in the future.
Yes, both. I mean, it always happens. It's a line that you're dancing with all the time, right?
Where do we see more gamesmanship? Where's it most common?
Older players.
Older players. Why is that, Andy? Mr. National
That
Coach?
they know more. They're older. They're young adults, or they think they're young adults.
their coaches, like Andy, teach them it.
Yes. And hey, the coaches,
They've been around for a while. They know what they can. They've got experience.
yeah.
They know, they can see, they understand referees positioning. They understand, they'll kind of start to get a sense of the crew, and they'll act accordingly. And if you
Hmm.
let them, they will continue. What doesn't get corrected, we encourage.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted
Gamesmanship can be
to,
clever, can be a winning formula, right? Some of it.
yeah, even if that's antagonizing the other team to make their own trouble. Yeah. So yeah, after all these sessions, I noticed a theme running through it, and with the tournament coming up this weekend, I wanted to share the theme I saw going through things, just send you off with some things to think about on your drive down to Irvine. Um, but really, what was touched across the board is opportunities will come up for you to affect a positive influence on the match. Sometimes that's going to be control, sometimes that's going to be flow. And if you start dealing with it small, it's going to be easier to have a healthy balance of flow and control. And you can do that by using your range of tools. don't forget the little tools. And now, I know something I've heard a number of referees doing, right? As you're trying to get your feelers out there, see what does and doesn't need to be handled. Um, the referees, with the best of intentions, say, I saw that, but I didn't want to fill in the blank. I didn't want to slow things down. I didn't want to annoy them. I didn't want to negatively affect the game. I admire that intent. Now, think about a game where you didn't exercise control. What happened afterwards? Can anyone think of it?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Well, the out of control that I let go by being okay, I don't care, was a coach that I knew that was also a referee. And it was a club game, but I was volunteering on a scrimmage. And when the head coach, Lloyd, was at the previous one, everything was fine. But the other guy decided to take it farther. And then it riled up the parents, and then it riled up the kids. And it got so bad. And this was a long time ago. Okay. It was probably 20 years ago. And so I was, maybe I was an advanced referee, but an advanced referee out of Santa Barbara without a lot of support like Team 3 gives you. And so I had to blow on the whistle and tell everybody that fine, I'm calling everything because the game was totally out of control. It didn't matter. I was blowing the whistle, but it wasn't doing any good. And I learned from that okay, I can't just let it get out of hand by allowing the touchline to do what they want.
Yes. So you chose not to have such a heavy-handed influence on the match up front, and then you had to have an even heavier handed influence on the match afterwards.
Yeah.
It gets harder. It does get harder. Those things rarely resolve themselves. It's the rare game where the referee's just backing off and the kids go, you know what? This is getting ugly. Let's keep this safe for ourselves. I've seen it, and it was sad that it got to that point. Now, so rising to the occasion, don't be afraid to try to use your little tools. If you don't want to use your big tools, use your little tools so that on your path you can avoid things rising to that level. You can keep the fire small and it's easy to put it out. Okay? So, when you have that moment and you're frozen up, realize, hey, this is probably a moment of truth. Okay? So, I need to just take a breath and decide something. So what? It's been an extra 2 seconds. All right. I can create influence now, keep things small, own the fact that I was slow. Everyone saw it. Own the fact that I took a moment to decide and get things going in the right direction. So I'm not saying clamp down every game. If that's something you want to experiment on, and then you got both sides saying, "Hey, let us play loosen up." Okay, I've got my feelers out. I'm going to loosen up. Everybody's asking for it to be looser. But as the opportunities come your way, rise to the occasion and look. If they think the game's too tight, the worst thing that can happen, they're going to let you know and they're not having so much fun. But if you let it go the other way, it's not safe, it's not fair. So try leaning into the way of having a positive influence. And I'm not saying whistle everything, I'm not saying card everything. Find opportunities to have a positive influence before you need to have a very strict influence. You guys thinking about something you can maybe try this week? Okay. Well, at least you'll have fun, even if I didn't spark anything in you.
You did.
I was just trying to think through, like, obviously age matters, and so as you get older, these things become more important. I have not done a lot of older. I haven't, there's a limit to what my my experience is, but I was just thinking through kind of still that first five mentality, and I think I tend to observe the beginning of the game more
Mm,
than get involved, and so I was just thinking through how how I would be more involved in those first 5 minutes, even though they're younger kids. So,
okay. That's a great spot for a short-term goal. Hey, in the first 5 minutes of each half, I'm going to talk to two players and give a coach a thumbs up. Boom. Short-term goal, very achievable. And then you know if you did or you didn't succeed. And at halftime, you can recoup if you didn't succeed and do it again in the second half. Great. Yeah, I like that your gears are turning on that, Randy. So everyone churn that over. Go back and watch the recordings of the other sessions if you want. Um, we're going to move on now to the Q&A about the national games. But before we stop the recording and move on to that, I just want to thank everyone who attended here live and anyone who's watching it afterwards. Thanks for being dedicated to the craft. Us doing this gives more to the kids. They get the game they deserve, which is great, and you get paid nothing extra. So thank you very much, everyone.
That's not true that we don't get paid something.